For those of you still logging in, wondering if your audio is working, you have dialed in correctly if you can hear my voice. All right, so let's kick it off. Thank you everyone for joining us today on this webinar titled Listen, Learn, and Win with RingCentral, where we will discuss the latest trends in unified communications and show you how you can, how unified communications as a service, or UCaaS, can streamline your customer interactions. Leaving today's webinar, we hope you'll have a better understanding of how connecting your customers, partners, and teams anywhere on any device can improve your customer experience and your bottom line. My name is Tim Newman. I am the Regional Channel Manager supporting RingCentral's top performing partners. Joining me later in today's webinar will be the Director of Marketing at ATI, a top 10 RingCentral partner nationally, Jeff Becker. Just a few quick housekeeping items. We will try to keep this to between 30 and 45 minutes, and we do hope that you stay until the very end, as that is when we will be raffling off 3 $100 Amazon gift cards. Stay tuned throughout the entire presentation. Must be present to win at the time of raffle. And if you have questions on UCaaS, the technology in general, or RingCentral specifically that arise during today's webinar, please do post those in the chat window, and we'll follow up with you after today's event. So let's jump into it. So business communications has changed over the last few years. Today, businesses want to empower their employees to be more flexible in choosing how they communicate, both internally and externally outside their organization. No longer is it a phone on a desk in an office. Smartphones and soft phones have expanded voice capabilities for employees everywhere. But generational shifts are driving focus beyond just voice, and leaders are asking, how do you keep teams connected regardless of location? Businesses and their customer bases are now global, so making sure that features and tools are universally available has to be paramount for organizations. And balancing all this for IT teams and all the options being weighed can be overwhelming. So let's take a look at where communication systems were and where we are today, and then how moving forward this benefits the business and benefits the workforce. So most of us have seen the iceberg picture that speaks to hidden costs. So let's take a moment and look at the hidden cost of a legacy or premise-based phone system. I won't go through these line by line, but let's just pick a few. So starting with flexibility. So with on-premise technology, you have to buy for peak utilizations. Often that's a guesstimate. This can be particularly painful and problematic for businesses that have a lot of seasonality built in, where you have ebbs and flows and peaks and valleys throughout the course of the year. What the implication is there is that you're effectively paying for services that you're not using throughout the course of the year, so you're overspending on your technology. With UCaaS, comparatively, most vendors in this space have what we call elasticity clauses, which give customers the ability to scale up and down and throttle their communications licensing and support and service as their business scales. Integration. So integrating with something like a CRM system, take a Salesforce or a Microsoft Dynamics, is a common requirement for customers. And in the on-prem space, this often costs extra in terms of licensing for that, as well as hiring out third-party systems integrators to perform what can often be a complex task in this space. Additionally, it's important to understand that not all integrations are equal. So when trying to integrate with a cloud-based CRM, such as a Salesforce, that integration might not be as rich and dynamic as one with a cloud-based phone system. And CRM is just one example. The requirement and ability to integrate with email, with file storage and sharing tools are two other really common examples of technologies that customers want and need to integrate with their communications and collaboration systems. And then the management of the technology. So for those customers on the call who today have Cisco or Avaya in-house, are very familiar with the requirement to have on staff lots of highly certified individuals. That can be expensive and time consuming for those folks to stay on top of the technology, as it's often complex and not really based on industry standards. Or if outsourced to a third party, you're often going to be experiencing minimum number of service calls per year, regardless of whether or not you're using that supports, which also can be expensive. So I mentioned it a couple times, but what is UCaaS? So to put it in simple terms, it is connecting and integrating your existing communication tools with a cloud-based system for secure and easy communication. And because it's cloud-based, it's more flexible and can more easily adapt to business changes when compared to a premise-based communication solution. In many cases, it also does this while lowering your costs, your TCO. And as your business evolves and changes, UCaaS makes changing and transitions less complex. Whether we're talking about single locations or global enterprises, the tools that are delivered to your users are universal, which provides a seamless experience for every employee, regardless of where they're located. Again, similarly here, let's not jump into every single one of these bullets, but tackling easy to maintain. So you can spin up new locations in not weeks or even days, but hours and minutes at times with UCaaS cloud-based platforms. And as your organization changes, you need to make moves, add changes inside your platform. This can all be done simply from your PC, a tablet, or even a smartphone from really anywhere. And then continuous upgradability. So most vendors in the UCaaS space are releasing major software updates on a quarterly basis. And at no point are you going to find yourself in a predicament where you're going to find that the hardware that you've got can no longer support the next release. With UCaaS, all of the technology is in the cloud. On-prem, you're looking at possibly a phone as far as hardware goes. And so you're never going to find yourself in a situation where you're facing end of hardware sale, end of support. And so what is UCaaS not? It is not a closet filled with cables, servers, and cooling equipment. So what also UCaaS is not is multiple disparate systems trying to work together. It's in those environments, though, where we often see users experiencing that inconsistent access to tools that they need to stay connected and productive, typically because of where they may physically be. UCaaS is a complete solution providing equal access to features and tools across employee types and locations, including global offices, and it does it in a seamless manner with simple administration. All right, I'm going to take a sip of my coffee here. I have a wife and 2 children who usually don't let me speak this long uninterrupted here. Pardon me for one moment. All right, so we talked about UCaaS and why customers are looking to leave the on-premise world and move their communication and collaboration to the cloud. Let's talk specifically about why customers are choosing RingCentral. So RingCentral is the largest pure play cloud provider in the communication space globally. That is both by seats sold as well as by market share. We have over 450,000 business customers on the RingCentral platform today. Something we're very proud of, but something we're more proud of is our industry-leading retention rate of over 99%. And we do that because we invest so heavily into our customer-facing resources and workforce. Over 2/3 of our employees are interacting and supporting the customers that we bring onto the platform. I mentioned we're a pure play UCaaS provider. So what does that mean? It means we're born in the cloud and we built our own technology. Over the last 14 years, we've been developing the RingCentral platform, and it's where we've continued to invest in to the tune of about 20% of our annual revenue going back into R&D. So we have the market leading platform today, but we're not becoming complacent or resting on our laurels. We're constantly innovating and building an even better product to bring to you as a RingCentral prospect and customer. We are a publicly traded company on the New York Stock Exchange. When I came on board at RingCentral 2 years ago, we were trading around $22 a share. Today, we're somewhere in the $100 a share range, which means there's a lot of positive momentum at RingCentral. We have a fantastic culture. There's a ton of growth happening, and it's building a team that's working with our customers who's excited and energized to work with you and support you. So let's talk a little bit about some industry accolades. For those of you who are not familiar with the Gartner Magic Quadrant, maybe I'll just take a moment to explain its importance to our industry and you as the business customer. So Gartner is an independent research company that evaluates global communication providers in 2 main areas. Completeness of vision, which has 8 subcategories, including market understanding, 5 different strategy areas, your business model and innovation. And then the second main assessment category is ability to execute, which has 7 subcategories, including track record, pricing, customer experience, among others. And in short, they do extensive research and they rank vendors in a grid they call the Magic Quadrant. Best placement in the Magic Quadrant to be is in the upper right box called the Leaders Quadrant. And as far up into the right in that area as possible as you could be is where you'd like to. And RingCentral for the last 4 years has been there and continues to move in the right direction. Important to note, up until this year, there has also been a Magic Quadrant for premise-based infrastructure, but that is being retired, and now we'll only have a UCaaS and CCaaS, or contact center as a service, Magic Quadrant. So Gartner did release a study in October of this past year that stated by 2021, 90% of IT decision makers will no longer be purchasing on-premise communications equipment. So Gartner astutely realized, why would we spend all of this time and energy building a Magic Quadrant for technology that no one is buying any longer? So how does RingCentral do it? Well, at our foundation, sort of the table stakes for unified communications as a service, we have voice, which is your dial tone and the ability to make and take calls. We have our eFax solution. Yes, fax is still a highly desirable service if you're in certain verticals, such as healthcare and legal, and voice conferencing, so an audio bridge. But then we look at the application layer and talk about giving customers more rich features such as business SMS and MMS. Video meetings, similar to what we're using today, which we call RingCentral Webinars, but also we have RingCentral Meetings, which is a cloud-based communication collaboration platform where you can not only screen share, but turn on your camera and communicate in real time, face-to-face with coworkers, partners, and customers around the world. Team collaboration. So at RingCentral, we've moved about 90% of our communication away from email and over to our team messaging platform, formerly called Glip. I mentioned contact center, which is also a component of the RingCentral platform. So as you're talking about new ways to engage with your customer by the mode of technology that they prefer, RingCentral gives you that ability to interact with your customers, whether that's by voice, by chat, over video, through Facebook Messenger, through WhatsApp, through Twitter. RingCentral has the ability to allow you to interact with your customers through any of those channels and do it in a simple, easy to use way in a single pane of glass. Analytics, so giving you insight into usage within your organization. How are teams and individuals taking advantage of various tools? How's your network performing under the RingCentral technology? We mentioned global a few times here. That's one of the requirements to even be considered for the Gartner Magic Quadrant. And so RingCentral has the ability to deliver in-country phone numbers in dial tone in over 90 countries around the world. So we are truly a global product for global enterprises. And then open and integrated, and we'll talk about this a little more in a couple slides, but that ability to integrate with other business critical applications and tools that users inside your organization are already in and using on a daily basis. So we're making their lives simpler by putting RingCentral into the tools that their workload is already relying upon. So I talked about in that last slide, that wheel that sort of highlighted the tenets of our platform. So what's it called? It's called RingCentral Office. And we talked about voice, again, dial tone, making and taking calls. That's, of course, fundamental to our platform, but we do it in a flexible and user-friendly way that differentiates us from some of the competition in the market. So we do have the ability to provide users with state-of-the-art desk phones from market-leading manufacturers such as Polycom, Cisco, and Yealink, and we deliver those phones to you, already provisioned for use with RingCentral Office. If you're an organization that provides your users with mobile phones, we provide your users with the ability to download the RingCentral app on there to have that same enterprise business experience they would have on the office as they would on the go. Additionally, we support BYOD, so for your users who want to be able to use their personal mobile device in order to communicate with customers, clients, and internally, we can give you the RingCentral app that will allow you to communicate over voice, video, or text while protecting your personal phone number and instead providing as an outbound number the RingCentral number we provide. And then soft phones. You know, when I came on board at RingCentral, they sent me a beautiful Polycom BBX phone, but by the time it arrived, I'd already begun using my soft phone and a Plantronics headset, and I never looked back, so I just use that for trade shows. We have a best-in-class soft phone that makes it so easy to work, to make calls inside your organization as well as out, integrating with Active Directory, integrating with your own personal contacts. It just makes dialing so simple. And then conferencing, whether ad hoc or scheduled, we give you a 1,000-port audio bridge for every RingCentral user that comes on board. So you and 999 of your closest friends can jump on a call at a moment's notice. So that's the communications piece. The collaboration tools that RingCentral Office supports includes team messaging. Again, this goes beyond just instant message and presence. We can include files of any size, pictures, videos, even emojis and GIFs. And not just internally, but those can be shared with partners or customers in real time and globally. With a click, users can go from messaging to a voice call or to a video call. It really is that simple as you're carrying on a conversation with someone inside or outside your organization to decide how you want to escalate that if needed. And then again, you know, video conferencing can really elevate what's otherwise a standard interaction into something special by allowing a more human connection. And these tools are available to every RingCentral user. So I mentioned our open API, which is really critical to the success and our position in the market today. We have over 140 plus out-of-the-box integrations that work with the business tools that your users are in on a daily basis, with a bunch of big familiar logos that you're seeing here. But tools like, again, your CRM, your email and chat tools, your ticketing system, these can all be integrated with the RingCentral platform. Outside of the 140 integrations that we built and made available to customers, our customers have built 1,000 plus custom integrations, either on their own through third-party developers that they've worked with, or leveraging RingCentral professional services. We have an available sandbox for developers to play in and leverage our exposed API. We've had over 12,000 developers sign up for access to that as of today. So continuous innovation is always top of mind at RingCentral, but our number one and first priority always is to ensure you have exceptional voice quality, reliability, and security on every call. So we do this through a couple of ways. To ensure voice quality, we paired with all major network providers so that when your phone makes a call, it takes the least amount of hops necessary. We've also deployed numerous gateways across major metro areas. So when calls are placed, they're routed by proximity to local gateways with private lines back to our data centers. We've also developed our communication service to be highly available by deploying a geo-redundant distributed architecture that's monitored by a 24/7 network operations center. So in the US, we've got bi-coastal data centers in Herndon, Virginia, and in California. And those data centers are never running greater than 40% traffic. So in the event we needed to proactively move all of our RingCentral office accounts from one data center to the next, we would be able to do that with still having room to scale as needed. An example of when we recently did that was when a recent hurricane was going to be hitting the eastern seaboard. We proactively moved all of our traffic from the Herndon data center over to the West Coast, and our customers were none the wiser that we had to do that. So we do all this while taking measures to protect your call from eavesdroppers, and we do that by employing SRTP, TLS security, data at rest encryption, and SLS connections to our online portals. This is a system you can trust today and as you grow. Once you come on board with RingCentral, it's important that you stay with us, and we do a great job of that. I mentioned in the second or third slide there, our industry-leading customer retention rate, 99.7%. And we do that by, once you come on board, assigning an account manager to your account to ensure that you're taking advantage of all the tools that are available to you with RingCentral. We've got 24/7, 365 follow the sun support, so you can reach a live person anytime, day or night, via phone call, chat, or email. We have an extensive online knowledge base, support.ringcentral.com. It's absolutely fantastic and a great resource for our customers to be able to solve some of their own questions in a timely, easy manner. And then optional professional services. So we work with companies and partners like ATI to deliver a seamless implementation as you transition from your on-prem equipment vendor over to RingCentral, or from another cloud-based phone system over to RingCentral. ATI and RingCentral can partner together to ensure that that's a smooth and well-executed process. So we've got lots of great and very familiar logos here for all of our Howard Stern fans there. I see John Varvatos, a big clothing brand. Box, that's a really great story, actually. Box, if you're not familiar with them, that's a cloud-based file storage and sharing service, and they brought in a new CIO who took a look at their existing environment and realized that they had over 30 communications and collaboration tools that they were managing and that their users were trying to determine which to use on a daily basis. They were, I believe, a ShoreTel on-prem customer for voice. They had Google Hangouts, they had WebEx, they had Lifestyles for video. It was just a mess, and it was really difficult to manage. They moved over to RingCentral, and in the first year recognized $1 million a year in savings. They selected us for a number of reasons. Video conferencing was key to them as they're a global organization, and they really value that face-to-face interaction. And they loved RingCentral meetings. So that was one of them. But then they really also liked themselves being a born-in-the-cloud vendor and recognizing the power that brought to them related to innovation and agility. And they wanted to work with a company of a similar DNA that also had that same ability to innovate and create best-in-class technology. So that was one of the reasons they chose RingCentral. But big logos here for those on the call who would be interested in learning more about any of the customers you see on this slide, or the hundreds of others that we've done white papers or case studies or have videos on. Please reach out to Jeff, and we'd be more than happy to share those with you, and when appropriate, even get you on a call with some of those customers to hear firsthand about their RingCentral experience. So with that, and speaking of Jeff Becker, I'm going to stop sharing and turn it over to you, my friend.
Hey, thanks, Tim. You can see my screen all right?
Let's see here.
Or you probably are presenting there as you weren't looking at screens, you're looking at your own.
Yep,
all right, cool. All right, well, afternoon all. Thanks, Tim. My name is Jeff Becker with ATI Technology Partners. And before we get to the best part of today's show, the gift card drawings, I want to do a quick introduction for those unfamiliar with how the ATI and RingCentral relationship works to support your business. Now, as Tim mentioned, ATI is a top 10 nationwide RingCentral partner and reseller, and one of the few RingCentral certified implementation advisors, which allows us to provide direct installation services if you so choose. Now, we supply engineering resources, decades of experience, and negotiate rates and deals on your behalf, often with better pricing than had you gone direct. And at the end of the day, you don't pay ATI 1 cent. Now, while we love RingCentral, earmuffs, Tim, in this part, essentially ATI is vendor agnostic. So we're able to represent any provider in the telecom and cloud world. In our 35-year tenure, we have a large client portfolio, so we've attracted a lot of the attention of the major providers, such as RingCentral, and those that shall not be named here. But this has allowed us to thoroughly vet each one. So we know their strengths, weaknesses, and consider the needs of your industry, location, unique systems, and strategies when developing a plan of action. So it's more about finding your business the right solution, since we have no direct ties or quotas from RingCentral or any provider. So we're more than happy to show you the competition so you can weigh the pros and cons and ultimately come to your own conclusions. And those conclusions, of course, being that RingCentral is the best, but we'll let you figure that one out for yourself. We also offer a portfolio of cloud services that pair nicely with voice implementation, such as SD-WAN, fiber, 4G wireless, mobile device management, video conferencing, and managed security. So if you've got multiple technology initiatives on the table, you can imagine managing all those connections with each provider is going to be pretty difficult. That's why having a partner like ATI can really make the whole process run smoothly. So if you'd like to learn more, or if you want to check out a demo, we'd be happy to set something like that up. We have your information. You can see mine on the screen. You can contact me. We also had some questions come in. We're taking all that down, and we'll reach out to you individually with the answers. And then, yeah, we can also, I'll set up a follow-up email, and we can set up demos if you'd like to see something like that. But let's get to the best part, and that is making 3 people $100 richer. So I got this cool app looking here where I'm going to cycle through all the names, and the first 3 names that come up are going to win $100. My team here wanted me to broadcast myself doing like a lottery drawing, but I don't know if you guys want to see me. So I'll just hit start, and we'll just get going. As you can see, I have just your initials there at the end, so no one knows who's really here. Drum roll for the first one. Actually, I probably should have brought a drum roll sound effect because it goes slow there. Dave M. All right, Dave, you're the only Dave M here, so that's you. You've won $100. Congratulations. We only ask a few things in return. Firstborn, other things. I'm just trying to fulfill time here while this cycles through. Tom K, you have won the next $100 and one more. Exciting. I need the background music. For next time, I'll have some music in the background. And the winner is Shirley P. All right. Well, thanks, guys, for hanging out with us today. As mentioned before, I'll get you guys your $100 gift card if you're the lucky winners, and we'll reach out to you and follow up with any questions that I've received during the webinar. And if you didn't submit a question, we'll also send out answers to the questions that came to us, so you can learn a little bit more. And if you guys know anything more, thanks so much for joining us this afternoon and morning for some of you, and we'll hopefully talk to you guys soon. Take care.